So when you open the application up, it kind of has an opening screen, kind of like Photoshop, but phew, much more colorful and much more streamlined. You notice how the template options inside of Photoshop and inside of Illustrator are all just like gray, and you have to put numbers in and stuff. At least here, you get some little bit. Do I want to do Android icon design? Do I want to use Apple iOS app design? Do I want to use iOS UI design? Do I want to use material design, or do I want to use web design? So they give you some options right off the bat there. Just depending. Now, of course, we're not just designing icons here. You would probably, if you're designing an app, would probably start with the iOS UI design, or if you're designing Android, would be material design here. And if you haven't read about material design last week, I had some article that you could read about material design. And you probably should at least review that. What is material design? I know we're kind of concentrating on Apple because they're promoting, they're pushing me to teach app, and it works real well on the Mac. But the Android is not that hard. My son was able to do Android. You make an Android app pretty easily. It's just basic object-oriented programming, and so Android is more, their style, of course, is material design. If you've never seen Android or material design, it's very flat design, right? It's got solid colors and shapes, abstract kind of shapes. iOS has their own kind of standard. That's what you were kind of watching in that video. He was talking about the app standard. And so if you click on that and you hit choose, it'll open up a screen, and it has pre-made things in there. You'll notice right there, these are called objects that are pre-made. So you can actually start with the standard button actions that are in there. Now, of course, I think I briefly talked the other week about that, and some of the same, and how that could be boring, right? That could be kind of boring, having to use the standard Apple stuff all the time. But the guy in the video was like, "Oh, use it because everybody feels comfortable with it," but so on. And so, as you can see, you got whole emojis, you got all kinds of different things you can start with. You got the number thing for the app, as well as the text thing for an app, and so on.
Programming in them, so like if you export them out, they'll be ready to use, or they're just literally images.
I'm not really sure if when I export it out of here that I take the image right. I mean, you can export the image as a file. Yeah, so I guess these are exportable file images. With these, they would be PNGs. But again, they have standard, as you can see, standard Apple interface right here. And you can start with that right off the bat. And, you can simply, how they're put together is like in groups. If you've used Illustrator before, you can grab multiple elements and group them together. Here in Photoshop, right, we would take and make a group inside the layer window, right, and then we could duplicate that layer. Well, this is the same way. Sketchworks the same way. You can have symbols or groups of artwork, and then reuse that over and over again. Because let's say you're making multiple screens, right? You're making, you have an app that might have 5, 6 screens. You want to design all 5 screens. You can take a group of artwork and make that a symbol, and then keep repeating it over time. What this starts out with, though, like I said, is a pre-made standard Mac kind of interface elements. And if you want to quickly start building something with this, how you do it is, of course, by making pages. Right now, you'll notice there's a box in the upper top corner up here that says Pages up here. And so how this application works is you make multiple. Now, of course, Adobe calls it Artboard, right? You have an artboard where it's the same thing, Artboard, Pages. And so if you click in the upper corner right there, you can see there's all kinds of different elements that you can make. And they still call it Artboard. There we go. They do call it Artboard as well. But you can see it says Pages, and you can hit a plus right there, and we can give it a page. Let's call it page 1. And then I can insert an artboard into that. And over here, you'll notice it has the standard artboard options over here. And you got your iPad, iPad Pro. I think we need to update so we have the latest the latest. I'm sure the iOS, the X, right? The iPad X, and so on. At least they have the iPhone 7, right? And so they do have all the options over here. Really, it's only this dimension. This looks awful small. Looks awful small. And you just drag it out. I just dragged what? iPhone 7 out. Here, I'll do that again. Or double click. I think you could double click on there. Where was I at? Insert, artboard. And I think if you just double click, or just click once, it'll put it out there. And so I have, again, the same standard zoom features, as well as hitting the space bar to give you that as well. As you can see, I can move it around. So it says iOS 7, and of course, just like in Photoshop, we could name our artboard over here. This would be opening screen. So just like in Photoshop, let's say this is my opening screen. The person's going to click a button to open up the first page, right? The first page would be my loading screen, right? So I might have a nice big photo back there, as well as have a photo. So again, I can insert an image. So in this program, I can do things like insert images, just like we insert an image in Photoshop, right? You can place it or whatever. You could say insert image, and I'm just going to kind of make what I did last class. If I could find my stuff. What did we have? Original smaller, cell phone, tinted surf, hero image. I had a field of flowers. Was that nice? Ooh, definitely not that. I guess we could use that. Here, we'll bring my field of flowers in, and here we go. So you can have an image just like you would, and you'll notice it's naturally kind of cropped to the side. So I could have an image. Notice it has an opening screen, which is the name of my artboard here, and it has an image in there. If you want to do the cropping like we did inside of Photoshop, you can do the same thing. So I don't want this to be the whole screen. I want to kind of crop this a little bit. You can do the same thing where you insert a vector shape or a shape, rectangle, and you could draw a graphic. Say draw a graphic. And then I can use that as a clipping mask, just like we did with the other one, where you go insert, if I can remember how to do it here, layer. There is a way of clipping mask. It's been a while. Use as mask right there. It's under layer, mask, used as mask. Oh, maybe I have to put it underneath it. Hold on. Let me see. Put it underneath it. Maybe I have to select both of them. Now, it was underneath it. So, was that in Photoshop? Was it underneath in Photoshop as well? Do you remember what we did last class? Was it on top or underneath? I can't remember. It was underneath, wasn't it? Because the image was on top, right? Remember, because we replaced the image on top? Right? I think we did the same thing. We replaced the image on top. So it does have the same kind of features. Basically, you make a vector shape and then mask, just like you did. So just like I did there. So then I could make myself a title. I'm going to put a title at the top. And so to put some text in, you can say insert text. And I could click on the top. And this is going to be mountain app. And then, of course, you have the same, oh, where did it go? Oh, it put it under there. It needed to go on top and not be a mask. It's still masking this. Probably have to release the mask. There we go. Oh, jeez, why did it still looks like it's masking this. Let me delete that. maybe I should group these together. To group these together is underneath the layer window, I believe. There is a way to group. Group selection. Okay, let's see. If I group it, then I put my text in there. Let me try putting some text in now. Yeah, then it's not masked. And one of the things you'll notice is as I put my text in, I can change my font over here on this side. I could change my font over here. I can find a nice font. And then I can change the size. It just says weight 8. Ooh, that's too big. And then, of course, I could change the color. And I think you can also scale as well. If I zoom in, no, it's not letting me scale automatically. Oh, there is a group button right there. I just saw it. There's a scale there. Looks like you got a scale like that. But look, it gives you all the dimensions and everything right there. Again, there's a size here. I have 18. I want to go up to 21. How about that? There we go. And then you can put it where you want. One of the things about text is that you'll notice it has a style over here, just like when you have a style inside of web design, right? You can make a CSS style, right? And then reuse that CSS style, right? You know what I'm talking about? Making a class or an ID in web design. Well, over here you have a style option as well. So after I choose a font, choose a color, choose a size, choose a alignment, and so on, all the different characteristics right there, is I could save this style, create a new text style right there, and this would be my, well, it put the text in there, Mountain View app title. So, and then I can apply that to any other text that I want real quickly, right? So it makes a style so you can save that. Okay, so again, you can make your text and make a style and resize it. Some of the other things you could do is, of course, like I just said, is we could make a mask and have an image with a mask as well. And then if I want to use those pre-made elements, remember when I opened it up, I said the iOS elements, right? Those are here. They're already installed. If you want an iOS, let's say I want the iOS load screen because this is my opening screen, which will have a loading bar right here, probably a loading bar that goes across my screen. I can actually go and insert a iOS element here, and you can see them all right here under components. And then, of course, I got examples as well, all built into the program. So since I already opened it already, and they have symbols as well, you can see them all right there. So what I'm looking for is the loading screen. So I have to find loading. You have to look around here. I bet you could probably search for it. There's sliders. There's all kinds of elements. Does anybody see a loading screen? Loading. 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 No, there's little dots. These are kind of loading, aren't they? The dots. I guess they don't have a bar. No, you're not going to see animation in this program. I was hoping to get a loading bar. Let's see. Examples. No. Page is what I'm working on. Components. Let's see. I still have those in there. No. I guess the dots would be a loading screen. I thought there would be a bar. Is there a bar in the app? Mac OS loading screen? Whatever, doesn't matter at this point. So if you want to put one of those components in, let's say we want to insert one of those components in there, you can click on your screen and you'll notice, I don't want to click actually on this thing. I'm going to make a new layer. So just like inside of Photoshop, you have new options, okay? And so you can insert a new option here. So I don't want to insert shape, vector, where is it? Symbol, here they are. And so here's all the different options that are loaded over here. So what did we want? We got icon, we got bars. They don't give me navigational bars, search bar, toolbar, 3D touch video player, keyboard navigation bar, status bar. How about a white status bar? Or no, signal? I don't know, let's just slap this in for now. There we go. How about that? That's actually up here for signal. So there's a whole bunch of pre-made things in there. I'm going to just put this right here. And you can change them once you put them in there. There's symbols, and in those symbols you can double click on them, and you can double click. I don't want the word sketch in there. I'm going to type in the word mountain. And of course you can actually move stuff around in there. They're just like groups of elements, and so you can move things around. There we go. And then so I can return. And now the word mountain is in there. So there's a bunch of pre-made elements already made for you. And even in Photoshop, you can download templates, and there's a lot of pre-made things as well in Photoshop. But here, it's very useful. I just kind of threw that in there. So let's say this is my opening screen, and I want to make another screen. Second screen, screen 2. So this is opening screen. When the person launches the app, it shows this real quick as it loads, and boom, it goes to a menu maybe, or an information page. To make a second page inside there, you can duplicate this page 1. If you want to copy the same elements, you can duplicate page 1 by duplicating page, by right-clicking on it and saying duplicating page, and I can call that page 2. And if I zoom out, it should have page 1, page 2, or actually, that might not be a better way. If you want them next to each other, let me delete that. Instead of making a second page, you can actually duplicate the artboard by selecting the artboard itself. Select all the elements in the artboard, and I believe the Option key does the same thing. Let me see if I can duplicate. There you go. That's another way. Instead of duplicating the page, you can duplicate the artboard, and so they're next to each other. Again, that was... so now I have actually 2 artboards. That might be a better way because it looked like the page was on the second page. And the reason why I think they have pages as well as artboard is in case you're designing for a phone, iPad, and so on. You could have a page that has all those designs in there and then duplicate that page and then make a second page with all that. Or like this, I just duplicated this, right? So, you know, and there's a couple different ways about it. Again, I might not want the group here on my second page. So my second page, I might call it opening screen. This will be main menu. Main menu, and then of course I might not want all this stuff here, so I can either delete it or, you know, I might keep some of it. Then I could go and build my screen from these elements. Again, you can insert shapes. Let me get some images. I'm going to get some images real quick. So you can download some shapes. And so let's download. Where is this? This is in what, Argentina, right? So we can download some elements. You can copy and paste, I believe, from the internet right into the program. And I might shrink it down. Uh-oh, lost it. So I'll do that. Again, you could have a mask if you want, just like we did before with the mask, where we could make a shape. Or we could do an oval if you want. And again, to do it, I believe it was the bitmap on top, right? Was that it? And then we told it to be a mask? No, I did that wrong. What is it? Yeah, the mask. Oh, on top. And then we tell that to, where is it, under layer? So again, the bitmap's on top, and it was under insert layer, mask. Mask with selected shape. No? How come it's not working?
You need to select the shape as well.
What's that?
You need to select the shape as well, not just the
Oh, make both of them. Okay, now let's try it. Mask. Mask with selected shape. There you go. Thank you. So we got a nice kind of look here with our circle here. And then we could put in our some text if we want as well. And so again, you can insert text.
Hey, sorry about being delayed today. I have a splitting headache. I'm not feeling well.
Okay.
I was lying down because my head hurts so much. Do you have like a neck pillow or something like that?
I have no neck pillow here. I'm
I
sorry.
didn't bring mine because my head didn't start hurting until I was on the way here. And I couldn't get to drive back home and grab it.
No. You want to go to the health center, and they have stuff over there as well.
I'm just gonna try and just sit here and listen.
Okay. So again, you could do the same masking that you do inside of Photoshop. This time I just did a round mask. Again, you can have some elements here as well, and I'm not sure. I was just putting some text in there. Notice as I drag things around, you'll see numbers showing up. See those numbers right there? See how the number has a number in between as I drag it between the photo and the element? Do you see that? Okay, what that's telling me is when we get to auto layout inside of the app in Xcode, that's how you measure. You measure the space between elements. Okay, between there, because it's more important. So when we get to building an app with Xcode, which is the program you build an app in then, what's more important is not necessarily the space between the text and the edge there, because the edge is going to change according to, do I have an iPhone, do I have an iPhone 7, do I have an iPhone 6 and stuff. What's really is important is the space between the elements on the page here. So what the program does is it kind of measures the space here. It also measures the space here depending upon the edge, but it knows this is going to change, okay? And the term that I use to describe that is called auto layout. But you can measure between objects because you want, if I was making a design like this, I want the space between here and here to stay the same, right? Okay, so that's more important than necessarily what the edges over here maybe.
Would it be able to keep that information and scale the size of the images?
Yes, it will do scaling. It does do dynamic text, is scaling text inside of Xcode, and they recommend using their font in their dynamic text. So again, this program is one that is used a lot to just build your interfaces and then move on from there. So if you want to see the one that came with the one I downloaded, there was a link to one. I put it in the downloads folder here. There's a sample mock-up here. And if we open that up, you'll see there's a sample that I downloaded. And you can see how they group things together here. You can see them how everything's in a kind of a group. And as you click around, you can see the buttons. And so you can see all the different elements that they have on a page. Okay, so there is a example that you can download from Canvas and open it up and see. Either application, in Photoshop or Sketch is fine, but this one is a little bit faster. Maybe I think is the thing, as well as exporting elements out. One of the things that Sue uses is something called a Zeppelin plugin, and I'm sure she'll tell you about that Zeppelin plugin on Wednesday. Again, it's a very simple mask. Again, you can bring in elements by inserting them. Insert a symbol, all the basic elements if you start there, as well as material design. So you can bring in a search bar, and you can put a search bar in right there. See how simple it is? Again, no, this is the built-in search bar from Apple. Insert symbol. This is where I'm putting things in. You can put the keyboard in if you want. So simulating somebody searching, right? If you want, you can put in a gradient if you want. So if you wanted to put in a gradient, this is how you could do it. If you put, let's say we wanted to have a nice blue gradient behind my big mountain text here, I could put in a shape, let's say a rectangle shape. I can put in a rectangle shape. Now notice how it covers everything, okay? Notice how it covers everything. But again, this is like Illustrator. You have layers, right? And so since I just put this rectangle, I want it to be in the back, So I can go under Arrange, Send to Back, and I can put it in the back. Now it's behind my stuff, and I want to put a nice gradient. Let's say I want a nice blue gradient in here. So in this case, where it says Fill over here, all the objects have options over here. You'll notice it says fill over here. We can actually go and give that a gradient. I know there's a way to give it a gradient. I just need to remember how to do it. No, here it is. Here, no, here, this is it. Second one. So again, I clicked on the fill right here, and then I went to the gradient, and then I can choose, what did I say, blue? I wanted blue. And I wanted a blue. And you can adjust the gradient. I want the light on one side and the dark. I guess I can't change that. How about light on one side and dark on the other? There we go. So I have a nice blue now, gradient. And so you can see you can quickly make design elements. Even with this mask that I have here, I can actually adjust that as well with transparencies and things like that. If I wanted it to be transparent. So you have gradients, you have the pre-made elements, you have search bar, all the standard things. And it's more, you need to come up with your ideas, putting it together. They're making it so much easier now for you to put it together. It's more, what your main goal is the idea. And normally you wouldn't sit down like I'm doing and just start slapping things together like this. I'm just demonstrating the application. You really should be thinking and planning ahead and draw it out on a piece of paper, then go inside here. Yes?
So I have a friend who runs a business and everything, a restaurant, and they haven't modernized or anything like that, but creating something as simple as an ordering online app. Do they have things as simple as copy and paste the code into essentially what you're looking for as a template or something like that?
You mean copy and paste what code?
For like just any kind of infrastructure interface that they use right now for a lot of ordering online. I don't know if there's a standard yet or anything like that for a lot of restaurants that they use for their apps, or if everybody comes up with their own code, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Oh, I mean, there's APIs for like connecting to Google API,
Okay.
for like Google Maps.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of the applications like Xcode or Studio or even web design, right? If you're building a website and you're making a web app, I mean, if I was going to build a map and I wanted to use Google Maps, there's a Google API right there for you. And you can designate, where the location of it is, and you can give directions of where the person is to the location. Because you can use the GPS of where the phone is located, and you can say, you're 5 miles away from our current location. So all that is very easily done with Google API. Google makes things like that very streamlined.
Okay.
That's sort of
Yeah, kind of
yeah,
more of
there's a
that
lot
kind of plug and play elements that you can actually apply. to
With
it.
Google, there is. You know, I was gonna. I actually built a little app for Zircon where it would show where all the Home Depots were, where you were at. You know, you're here, and then here's a Home Depot over here. Here's a Home Depot over here. Here's a Home Depot over there. But you know, they didn't want to go for it because we sell at Lowe's as well as Ace Hardware.
Well, then put them all on there.
You can't put them all because there's too many. And the other problem I have is inventory, where you know I want to buy a specific product, right? Well, you know that product is different in Lowe's as it is in Home Depot, as it is in Ace, as it is in Orchard Supply.
Yeah, yeah.
So you might say, I really want this product, and if I gave a general one,
Uh-huh.
and then the other problem is I can't get into the inventory of the store.
Gotcha, yeah.
If I could tap into the inventory of the store, I can say, oh, it's located down the street in there, and that takes a little bit more.
Gotcha.
I'm sure it's possible, but that would take some
So there-
programming effort, I guess. It would have to take cooperation with.
That's the thing I was kind of wondering.
Yeah.
With a lot of these things now, with apps being really relevant, if a lot of people have become kind of more open source, I guess, with their information, to make it easier for app creators to do it. But I guess.
Okay, I'm going to stop my